Captain Marvel Backlash at Liberal Agenda, which split Star Wars and Doctor Who fans. Well, come on. Let's not forget Ghostbusters 2016 while we're at it. After all, we wouldn't want Leslie Jones thinking that their movie didn't count either. Didn't. How's it going, everybody? This is Phil. So I'm over here on express.co.uk, and my buddy Stefan Kyriazis. Usually I read, this is actually the first article of his that I've read that hasn't had something to do with Star Wars. And I've been away for a while, and I figured the next time I'd see him it would be a Star Wars article. But again, this Captain Marvel stuff is just it's the hot button topic. So I figure, hey, let me check it out and see what Stefan has to say in regards to this, and kind of get a feel where he stands on this whole situation. So let's start up and see what the deal is here. So Captain Marvel Backlash at Liberal Agenda, which split Star Wars and Doctor Who fans. Captain Marvel and Brie Larson have ignited a row between claims the latest Marvel movie is pushing a liberal I almost can't even say it without laughing. A liberal feminist agenda which excludes white males and opposing accusations of misogyny, echoing similar battles over Star Wars and Doctor Who. Meanwhile, reviews have been mixed, and as they start to pour in from top critics, and critics in general, and the public is going to be unleashed very shortly. We've seen kind of mediocre reviews, a few, hey, wow, this is fantastic, this is great, you're going to expect that, but all in all, it hasn't been the universal acclaim that we saw when Black Panther came out last February, and that already is a bit of a loss. A lot of people were saying, jumping up and down, saying this is going to be the greatest thing ever in the history of superhero movies, and it's going to be our number one female hero. And look, you have Wonder Woman, and we all have Wonder Woman. As a matter of fact, Wonder Woman is a hero who, it doesn't matter what your gender is. Wonder Woman is a hero for all people. She's a classic character, and she's got a long history, and her movie was well received, and one of the reasons why it didn't get a backlash was because it didn't feel like it had an agenda. Wonder Woman felt like a very earnest character who had compassion and empathy, and she was feminine, and she had emotions, and she was strong, and she was capable, and she absolutely was able to handle herself. But at the same time, there was a sense of vulnerability about the character, and that's what makes her relatable, because she's not perfect, because she can fail. A lot of that, for me at least, came through in Gal Gadot's performance. Gal Gadot, she had a great performance, and the whole way through, even with the press tour leading up and afterwards, she was a class act, and she was charismatic, and that's what people like to see, whether it's male or it's female or whatever race somebody is. People just want to feel like they can relate on a human level. Being relatable has nothing to do with these silly little subclasses that people want to start grouping themselves into and separating themselves out. Being relatable as a character has nothing to do with the color of your skin or your gender or your sexuality or your religion. It's, what is your struggle? What is the journey? What is the hero's journey? And how am I as a person able to connect and identify with their struggle and their conflict and what they need to do to seek out and find some form of a resolution? How do I identify with that? That's what's important. And when you get caught up in everything else, and again, we saw this in The Last Jedi. When you put things in there just to have an agenda, just because you're checking things off on the box, you do it at the sake of comprehensive textbook storytelling. And your story will suffer. And the fans will smell this and they will call bullshit. And then you end up with a backlash. That's the formula. So, anyway, let's continue. Film producer Mark John, who is currently producing a documentary exploring the fan backlash against Disney's handling of the Star Wars saga titled Episode Backlash, I cannot wait to see that, told the Express Online in January that other beloved franchises are also being monitored to see where similar divisions exist between what fans want and what they are being given. Raiden's dropper, Doctor Who, became a case in point. Yeah, I heard about that. I remember when they announced Doctor Who was going to be a female. And obviously I'm aware of Doctor Who. I've never been a big fan. I'm assuming it was not well received. With social media discontent and unexpectedly divided reviews, is Captain Marvel about to do the same? I guess some people loved it, some people hated it. John told Express Online Disney's female-led Captain Marvel movie was already taking a hit from fans who spoke up following controversial statements made by star Brie Larson in June last year, perceived to be anti-white and anti-male.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what that film meant to women of color, to biracial women, to teen women of color, to teens that are biracial. And for the third time, I don't hate white dudes.
Larson at the time was accepting an award in Los Angeles when she noted that film critics are overwhelmingly white men. She called for more diversity and later expressed a desire to see more women and people of color on the Captain Marvel press tour. Whilst many fans reacting to her politically charged comments did not seem to have an issue with the race or gender of a film critic, there was considerable blowback against yet another example of perceived heavy-handed political messaging being injected into pop culture entertainment. And, I think that's the problem is, a lot of people just keep your politics out of our stupid superhero movies. This is our escape. We go here to get away from this nonsense, and, it's getting dragged into it. This isn't even on the set of Captain Marvel. This is just her being angry at a man for offering his seat up to her. She just walks around angry all day. And here she is again, Captain Charisma. There was never this kind of pushback against Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman or Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. No. A fact that has dampened the gunpowder of hostile news reporters who have unfairly taken aim at the alienated fandom as supposedly being misogynistic. Now, everybody loves Wonder Woman, and everyone loves Black Widow. It's important to note that upset Marvel fans include women, as do some of the less enthusiastic movie reviews. And that was the thing over at Mary Sue, where they put out a statement saying that all the bad reviews of Captain Marvel were by men, and they were swiftly proven wrong on that.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Indeed, many fans believe that the popular movie site Rotten Tomatoes removed its pre-release audience voting buttons on February 25th, primarily in reaction to fallen interest among fans to see either Captain Marvel or Episode 9 itself. And yet, that was a preemptive strike. Captain Marvel was the testing ground. It took the bullet for the up-and-coming Episode 9. So now Episode 9 won't have to deal with this, a struggling franchise that's already dealt with plenty of negative fan reaction after The Last Jedi. Tomatoes boss Paul Yanover disputed any suggestion of this, but fans quickly drew their own conclusions after some amateur sleuthing uncovered the interesting fact that Yanover himself started his career at Disney and had previously served as the managing director of Disney Online from 2006 to 2011. So, it's everything is interconnected. with this whole thing, and everything smells fishy. The deafening discontent around Captain Marvel echoes the ongoing backlash against another Disney franchise, Star Wars, which saw the boycott of Solo in May 2018 after fan relations were damaged following Rian Johnson's divisive The Last Jedi. Some fans now worry that Marvel boss Kevin Feige, a figure usually revered throughout the fandom, has begun pandering to political activism. Is only a matter of time. Kev failed to learn from the misfortunes of Lucasfilm and its besieged president, Kathleen Kennedy. Do you remember back in September when they were looking to oust Kathleen Kennedy? Or that was a big rumor. And nobody wanted this. She shit the bed so bad, nobody wanted to lay in it. And one of the rumors was Kevin Feige. They wanted him to take over. And he turned it down. But now he's coming up on the heels of the same situation she found herself in. And that's the thing, you let this kind of stuff get into your creativity, into your product, and you see the fans revolt. And this is what's going on right now. And we'll see what happens when these box office numbers come in on Monday. It should be noted that the less positive reviews primarily highlight the perceived failings of the movie as a dynamic blockbuster rather than any mishandled promotion of agendas. They also go into Brie Larson's pretty wooden performance as Captain Marvel. Essentially, she just does not emote. Nothing phases her. She walks around unimpressed by everything. Pretty much, there just seems to be nothing relatable about her. She's too powerful, and she doesn't get shook up by a thing. It's just who can really relate to a character like that? She's just completely overpowered. So anyway, how much of any of this affects the latest Marvel blockbuster and proposed future leader of the MCU? We'll see about that. Will be revealed when the movie hit cinemas worldwide this weekend. So that's it, and I mean, you look at this and this emotionalist. I mean, it's just, from what I hear from some of the reviews that have been coming out, that her performance is so devoid of any charisma whatsoever that if they actually got the CG character Groot to play her. To play Captain Marvel, his performance would be less wooden, and he's a tree. I am Groot. And he only has one line that he delivers. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's the article, and this is just one big mess. It's getting messier and messier, and Friday is going to hit. Man, they're going to release the Hounds. There is just going to be a flood of reviews coming in from fans all over the place, and the fireworks are going to be loud and big and bright, and the whole sky is going to get lit up with the fallout from this movie, and we'll see what happens on Monday. I don't think this movie breaks 100 million for the weekend. I just don't. And look, maybe I'm wrong. Marvel is still a strong brand, and it has a 10-year record, stellar performance record at the box office of delivering quality films, and this movie ties into the overall story leading into Endgame. So just for that reason alone, and perhaps a lot of you can say a lot of the general public doesn't know kind of what's going on here with this movie, but a lot of the general public don't even know who the character is. So we'll see. I mean, it might do around maybe Ant-Man type numbers, but if it does below that, I wouldn't be surprised. So tomorrow night, I will be at the theater checking out Alita Battle Angel. I'm taking the Alita challenge, and I'd like to see that movie get to $500 million, and I'm going to put my money over into that female character, and we'll see what happens when it's all said and done and the dust settles and the box office totals coming for this weekend. Anyway, guys, feel free to like and subscribe, comment down below, or dislike. You're allowed to disagree. That's the fun of this, right? So anyway, have yourself a good day. I'll talk to you guys sometime soon. Until then, be happy, be safe, be healthy. Have a good night. Bye-bye.